Hey y'all, hey y'all, come on in the room. Ladies, I'm so glad to have you joining us tonight. I'm going to give you ladies an opportunity to get on in here. And while you're doing that, I'm going to be setting up my stuff over here. Oh, Lord. Let's see. I need to mute something, I think. I know. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Hang on a second here. Let me just stop that. How about that? Hang on, y'all. Trying to, oh, there we go. I'm good. Thank you. All right. Listen, you guys, I'm so excited to have you guys joining me tonight. So while I'm waiting on you guys to come in, let me explain to you what I got going on. So if you see me looking over here, I got two screens going. One is so I can see me and the guests that are going to join tonight. And then the other is so that I can see if there's anything going on in the chat. I think you guys have seen me come on here before and, doing too much in the live. So I want to welcome you guys tonight. And as you know, I want to say I am Coach Val and I'm your good girlfriend. Welcome to It Takes a Village, girl. Welcome to It Takes a Village. I am super happy to be live with you guys tonight. It's been a long time since we've been together for It Takes a Village live. So I'm so glad to have you guys here. And I think you guys might agree with me that sometimes it takes an entire village in these self-care streets, right? It's basically like, I feel like I am my sister's keeper, right? I am definitely my sister's keeper. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about something that I don't always, that I don't think people always associate with self-care, but it's most definitely an influence on our well-being. And that is sisterhood, our circle, right? Who's hanging out with us? Who's in our space? Who are we giving access to us? So I think that's what we want to talk about tonight, okay? We want to talk about that. And another part of that is who we surround ourselves. It makes a difference. It matters. Our relationships, you guys, and I know you already know this, but our relationships can either support our self-care or it completely drain us. And we just got to work around ways to not be drained, but that we're being energized by those who are with us, right, in our space. So we're going to chat a little bit about how our circle impacts our growth and how we should be and how we can be intentional about who actually has the access to us, okay? So I've got some of my amazing, y'all, I'm so proud of these ladies. I've got some of our amazing Sister Circle coaches with me tonight, and they're going to help us break this subject all the way down. All right.
Hey, hello.
I'm going to give you ladies an opportunity to introduce yourself. All right.
Okay. All right. So I'll go first. I am Coach D. Also, Dianna Thornton is how I'll appear in the group, but Coach D is what I'm affectionately known as. And I'm a financial coach, and I help women to gain clarity and confidence with their money.
Awesome.
Love it. Hey, y'all. I am Coach Fee. And listen, I help high achieving women to navigate life's transitions with confidence. Because here's what I firmly believe. We either are getting ready to go into a life transition, we are in the middle of a life transition, or we are coming out. And so my passion is to really help you navigate that with confidence. So you step boldly into your next chapter, girl. You got to do it. You got to do it.
Come on, next chapter. I love it. So, ladies, thank you for agreeing to join me tonight on It Takes a Village. I love this segment because it just kind of gives us an opportunity to come together in this community and share our knowledge, and also work with the ladies and find out if there's any questions and things that we can answer. Okay. So let's just start right here. We're talking about the role, kind of that role of our community, of the community and our self-care growth. How are we growing? So let's start right here. How do our relationships affect our ability to truly care for ourselves? And what does a supportive sisterhood look like? So
Yes.
somebody want to go first? Who wants to go first?
You can go first. I'm sorry.
Okay. Listen, I think that the people that you have around you certainly impact your self-care. Like, and I think about my own circle, right? And let me tell you something. We cheer each other. You need people who go like rah rah girl, even when you in your lowest of places or difficult or challenging seasons. I also think that it's important that there are people that you can trust. There are women that you can trust. And it may not be just ladies. It could be a male best friend. I think we don't have to limit it to that. But I think they are certainly pivotal to our sisterhood and how we take care of ourselves. Absolutely. Who you got around you? Who's speaking into your ear?
Yeah, I agree. Coach D, what's your thoughts there?
I was going to say similar. Who we spend time with, it directly affects us. It directly affects us. It changes things. We could be having a focus on something else, and then the people we're around could really be bad for us. So I'm confident, or I'm not confident. For me, sisterhood is just being around a circle of people who inspire me, who I might feel like I can't do something. They're like, you know what, you can do that. Give it a try, to push me, encourage me, and just challenge me. So being around someone who's not doing that it's not good for me.
Yeah. When I think about it, for me, I feel like true or real sisterhood for me provides emotional safety. Right? I'm big on that emotional safety because I need to be able to be vulnerable in that space, in those friendships. I need to be able to, for lack of a better word, let my hair down. I don't have any, but for lack of a better phrase, I need to be able to let my hair down. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if I've got to be on guard, that's not a good look for me. And so then maybe that's not the relationship for me. And I think I know in the past, not in the recent past, but a while ago, I did have a relationship. We got along very well, but I always felt like I was on guard. Like, it was not competition. It wasn't that, but I was always defending myself, I felt like. And so I just feel like, no, that's not a good look for me. And so I just feel like our relationships either going to fuel us or take away from us.
Yeah. I talk a lot about fruitful friendships. Is that friendship bearing fruit, right? And so when we talk about those that are around us, I firmly believe similar is that I need to be able to trust your no. I don't want people around me who are just constantly going to, you can do that, you can do that. No, stop me. If I'm going off a cliff, please don't let me jump off the cliff because you're supporting me. That's your support. The other way says no, but I have to be able to trust that when you say no, I trust that you have my best interest, and I'm safe there to know that that my sis, she got it. And so let me tell you something. Here's the other thing: there's not very many people, and I can probably count maybe on one hand how many people in my life, how many sisters that I have or my tribe that I can trust their no. That's not everybody.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And as you talk about that, that really kind of takes me into like thinking about healthy relationships, right? That's what that sounds like to me. A good, healthy relationship, or as you said, a fruitful friendship, a good, healthy relationship. And we have to be careful because when we're not in those good, healthy, or fruitful relationships, as you say, then we find ourselves floundering. It's hindering our growth. It's holding us back, right? Whether that be a mental thing, emotional or whatever, but we find ourselves in this place where the relationship is not healthy. And I know that we all can agree that not every relationship is a healthy relationship. And sometimes here's what's the hard part. Okay. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones who, right? Those are the ones that we love them and we can't let them go because they are who they are, right?
Yeah.
And those are the ones that are holding us back. So with having said that, then here's my thing. What are the signs that your circle, that close friend, that relative is either helping you grow or holding you back? Are there signs? You ladies can pick up any signs?
Yeah. I would say when there's judgment, when you're sharing things, possibly when you're having wins, it's a little judgmental. And you notice little things they might say, sometimes it might feel like you think you're better than them when it's no, you think that I'm better. So it's bothering you, but you're reflecting it onto me.
Yeah.
That's good. Judgment is huge. Just to be able to be yourself. And you all know, as we're talking about this, even in the entrepreneur world for us, sometimes those circles do change. And so, to not feel like you're better than somebody because you have started the business, or you started living the dream, or started a passion that and so how do they, I think too, how do they keep supporting you, when things have changed? Maybe you didn't have all the time that you used to have. But are they continuing to support? Are they non-judgmental? Can they cheer you on? Even when it may not look like they are, in the same space. You understand what I'm saying? Like that, I think is huge.
Yeah, that's really good. And I'm going to ask, like I said, my niece is in the background helping us with all this, and I just want to make sure that we're not missing any questions. So Yolanda, I know you're back there, ma'am. If there's any questions or anything that you want to that we need to address, please make sure you pop them up on the screen for us, so we don't. So ladies in the audience, if you're seeing anything and there's anything you want to add or anything you want to ask us, feel free to do that. And Yolanda said no questions yet. Thank you so much. I see Coach Kamisha is out there. Hey, Coach Kamisha.
Hello. Hey.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. But you ladies, that's paramount. That judgment piece.
Oh.
Sometimes, and I've done it. I remember it's been a long time ago. I mean, I think I'm not perfect, but I remember distinctly a long time ago, someone else was getting a job, and I was like, well, ain't nobody asking me about a job. And, I was in my feelings about it, and I was feeling away. But I had another good friend of mine who, like you said, Coach Fee, stopped me in my tracks and was like, look, don't do that. If you feeling like something, if something's not working, have a conversation with your girlfriend. Don't start harboring feelings. And I don't know that people understand that communication is the key to these relationships, right? We've got to be open and we've got to be honest. And if you have I have a friend of mine who says, have a courageous conversation.
Yes.
Right? You've got to have it.
Yeah. Those are honest and authentic, right? Like, so the people that are around you, are they authentic? Are they authentically them? Because I don't believe that they can be authentic with you if they're not authentic with themselves.
Yeah.
And so, the draining, the feeling like, if you don't have time for the conversation, now we get passive aggressive. That's another, another toxic sign, I think. I call you. I have a best friend who lives in Arizona. Let me tell you something. Her and I can. It's so funny because we'll just play tag. There'll be some days we playing tag. Tag, you're it. But we don't get offended if I couldn't talk to you today. It's just a text. Hey, girl. Hey, and we can keep going. But when you see that a passive aggressiveness come in, I think that's another hard place to. Here's a question too. How do you have those conversations? You were talking about, communicating. So where do you start with that with somebody who may not even think that they are not toxic or positive or
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I would say talking to them about it. Talking to them, just being upfront. Listen, when you do this, I feel this. I don't know if you realize this. I don't know if you're trying to say this in this manner, but when you say that, I'm receiving this way.
Just
Yeah.
say it. Yeah.
And that's so I take the approach. I have had to have a couple of courageous conversations, and what I usually do is I take the approach of let me first, because I know that I'm not perfect, and I know that I do things and I say things sometimes that can rub you the wrong way or come across incorrectly. So I usually start off by asking for forgiveness for the thing that I've done. Right? Listen, girl, I remember, I was thinking about what I said to you last week, and here's what I thought. Maybe I didn't need to say it in that way, and da 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 da. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of go from there, and then as we're talking, we're able to talk about, well, there's something like Coach D just said. There's something that you do or you say or whatever that makes me feel like this. Not trying to blame them or shut them down, but also being open and transparent about how I'm taking it. And then that also opens the door to give that person the opportunity to clear it up, because sometimes we just don't know that we're not saying it right, or we're not intending to be maybe judgmental. We'll go back to that. We're not intending to be judgmental, or we're not intending to be short-sighted, but it could come across that way. So it gives us an opportunity just to clear the air. And I usually feel that we strengthen the relationships when we have those good conversations like that.
Yeah.
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 I agree. And if we can't talk, then are we that much of a friend if I can't tell you how I feel?
Let's start there.
Yep.
I think that's another measure. Can I say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Without, because I think oftentimes too, friendships just dissolve.
Yes.
And then you're like, well, what happened? But I often think, like, what if we could just have a conversation and say, you know what, sis, I am thankful for the time you were in my life, and I wish you well. But I think oftentimes, friendships just kind of dissolve, and I can speak for me, and my things just kind of dissolve, and I'm a people person, and I love, women, and I love it, and so it's hard for me when friendships just kind of fade out, and it's like, well, what? And not that we were like distant friends. I'm talking about, we done been to each other's house for a dinner or two or celebrations, or this is not just kind of the far off. But then it just kind of dissolves, and it's like, I wish we could have had an opportunity to bring closure to that and have that conversation.
So Miss Reva Chambers has asked us a question. She says, how do you know when to end a toxic friendship? So you just talked about how they sometimes can dissolve. So again, just me. Just me. If I always come away feeling, if I always come away feeling bad when I'm with you, if I always feel like I'm drained, I'm worn out, it takes so much to be with you or around you or whatever, it might be time that maybe you don't, quote unquote, end the friendship, but maybe you spend less time together. Right. You do less things together. The visits get to be a little bit fewer and more far between, right? Yeah. Just because you need that space. Mm-hmm. You got to protect yourself, right?
And I'm huge on, I just reciprocate it. Let me tell you something. If I'm your friend, your sister, I'm in. Yeah. And so that means you have access to me. That means whatever you're doing, I'm supporting. But if I feel like I am constantly, it's one-sided, and I'm constantly doing all the giving, for me, that's it's not, it's toxic.
Yeah. And you can feel that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Say that again, Coach D.
I was gonna say, and you can feel that. So, and when you call people, when you're talking to them, you can feel it that they almost feel like you're bothering them, or they didn't really want to talk, or even if you want to get the energy when you're going to be together, and you're like, oh gosh, here, let me get ready, let me get myself together. Anybody that makes you feel like that, no.
Yeah.
So
am I excited? Yeah, to go hang with you, or am I like, I really could. I don't know.
yeah. So here's
Wishing it was canceled.
how do you? So do you? So because Coach Fee, you said it kind of fades off. Do you then feel like? Have you? So I guess here's the question: Have any of us ever had to just say, "I don't know that I want to be friends anymore"? Have we said that?
I have never said that, but
I
I've
haven't
done
either.
what Coach Fee said. Basically, we're not hanging out as much. I don't make as much time for you. If I have a little bit of free time, I'm not going to spend it with you. I
There
still
you
love
go.
you. Important things. I'm here for you because I still love you, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
The effort,
Yes.
the effort is not there, and I think that's where, for me, I would like to be better at letting someone exit with grace, and let me exit with grace, so that the ends are tight and we're cool. We know this is what it is. This is what it's come to. I'm thankful for what you know offered, or what you brought to my life. I hope I brought something to your life, and this is just it. And instead of just kind of like, well, what happened? But again, those are not the far off. These, I'm talking about a more, I should say, intimate or close.
Yeah.
So that might be a little definition, because you know what, if it's a coworker, and we just stopped talking to you, left the job, and we don't have any connection beyond the job, I'm cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I guess in short, it's like the sisterhood or the friendship should add to our lives, right?
Yes.
Drain us. We shouldn't be exhausted. Like Coach D said, oh Lord, I gotta get dressed so I can go be bothered with them. No.
Yeah, if you're doing that shit.
Yeah, then it's definitely not, right? And if
Yeah.
you gotta shrink in there, to fit in, to be
Ooh,
around
Yes.
them. You
Yes.
can't
That's a
talk
big
to them
one.
out loud.
oh, that's a good one. Oh God. Yeah.
If
Yeah.
your wins are like too big for them, you don't want to hurt their feelings. Like, they feel like you're doing too much. Yeah, that's a big
Or
one.
opposite, you again, it's lopsided. I'm celebrating you, and then I get like a little, if that or anything, where it's all about you.
Mhm.
That to me is like, no, I don't want to be around somebody like that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Right.
not reciprocating.
Absolutely. So, and with that kind of in mind, if we're talking about, we know what we want from a good, strong, healthy circle, friendship, sisterhood, and all that. How then do we continue to build on those so we can maintain those relationships, right? How do we build on that? I know part of that is like definitely, and Coach Fee, you talk a lot about intentionality. You talk about that in like just kind of across the board. It's one of the things I love about you, that you make it a point to be intentional about the things that you're setting out to do. So even in our friendships, being intentional about who we allow in our space, or is it okay to say quality over quantity?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And I think everybody gets to choose that. I get to choose the people that are in my space, and how close you come or how far you are, and vice versa. People get to decide how close or proximity I can be, or how far they want me to be, right? And that's healthy, because the truth is, everybody's personality, everybody's character, everybody, journeys, everybody's history, all of that you take into consideration when you talk about sisterhood. And y'all have been friends with somebody you just automatically just gelled.
Yes.
But you can't figure out, wow, I love this girl. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. It was somebody like, I just saw them. I said hello. We hung out. I got to chit chat, and no biggie. Nice to meet you. So
For sure. I like that. I'm
I
gonna tell you. I'm gonna take a couple of these questions and a
Yes.
comment. I see a comment from Miss Connie Garvey. She says, "I'm listening from Wisconsin, and I feel like I'm outgrowing certain friendships.
Ooh.
Example: I gave up alcohol, so unless there is something in common, it doesn't work for me." So, Miss Connie, I think you're saying you gave up alcohol, so you don't really hang out with people if we're just kind of going out for drinks. That's what I'm taking that to be, because you didn't say anything after that, so I'm kind of filling in the blank there, and I hope that So how do you feel? So she feels like she's outgrowing certain friendships, and wouldn't you ladies agree that that happens?
Oh,
It does. It really does. And it's okay. And at first it's hard because in our mind, or we're just like, that's been my friend for 10 years, or we do everything together. What am I going to do without them? Or, I don't feel like, I don't feel the same. And it's hard, but we have to be real with ourselves.
Especially if that was a common bond. If and I can't see the comment, but from what I heard you read, if the common bond was the drinking, and when that goes away, if that is that's kind of the litmus test as to what held the relationship together.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Yeah. So if the relationship again, if it changed based off of this one change, that means that was the bond for the relationship. So somebody's helping.
No, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I love that. Because that's across the board. That's just not friendships, right? That's relationship, right? That's the litmus test.
Yeah.
So what's keeping us quote unquote friends?
Yeah.
Right.
It's like my bestie in Arizona. We have been friends for over 25 years. She was my children's youth pastor, and we have moved states. We have gone through marriages. We've gone through divorces together. But we are intentional about how we stay in each other's lives and stay connected. And so, I think when somebody makes a change, and then the relationship, you feel like you've outgrown it, then you kind of know that's what held the relationship together. That's a good question, though.
Yeah, that was a great question. Thank you, Miss. I think it was Miss Connie. My comments to move, so I can't see. But thank you for that question. Here is another question. It says, "How do you manage knowing how to push your friend and when to leave her alone?" Here's the context: your friend is behaving differently, and you recognize it, but they tell you to leave them alone. How do you manage knowing how to push your friend and when to leave her alone?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I probably would say if I know it's something that they need a push, I'm going to give the push. If I see that they are like really uncomfortable, then I will pull back, but I don't want to not push and have them fall into it and stay into that place when I know, that's not good for them.
Yeah.
I would add, I would need to ask permission, right? So there are times that I may see something that's good for you, but that's not an automatic, again, depending on where we are in proximity, what I call is to tap the mic. Are you the tap the mic friend where you on the stage of life with me? You see all the good, bad, ugly. Listen, you can say it, but it depends on where I'm at. So if depending on where the friendship is it fragile? Is it a strong friendship? I would ask permission first. Like, can I talk to you about something? Because if they don't want to hear it, it don't matter if you push. Matter of fact, they're now going to resist because they're like, who asked you for your opinion?
Right. Right. Nobody asked you. I didn't. And I like that because, like you said, you would ask for permission. And I don't know if I'm asking for the permission or if I'm going to ask for forgiveness, right? Because I feel like I need to say something. I might say it, but let me talk to you from this place of love.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Because, like you said, again, it depends upon
the way you phrase it,
where you are, where in the friendship. But let me talk to you from this place of love because I love you and I need to say this to you because I feel like,
Yeah.
Right. So you ask for permission. I'm gonna ask for forgiveness and Bargy.
Yes.
I'm like Coach D too.
Absolutely. Yeah, good question though. Thank you guys for
That
the
is
question.
very good.
Are there any other questions, Yolanda, back there? Let me know. Just throw them out here, and I'll get to those. We'll get to those as well. I had mentioned a little bit ago about protecting your space, right? Protecting your peace and having that those personal boundaries. So let me see. So in the last few years, we've heard folks say that more and more, right? I'm going to protect your peace, girl. You got to protect your peace. And that's true. And I think that's true even with some of the best of friendships.
Oh, yeah.
We still got to have those boundaries. How do we set the boundaries in a way that protects us, though, without damaging the friendship and the relationship? How do we do that? So you mentioned something earlier about doing things without the guilt, right? So we have to be able to set those. But here, so I feel like I have an example for all things, right? But sorry, y'all, my life
it's all good.
my life used to be real raggedy, but there was a period of time where I had something going on and it was troubling me so bad. I wasn't comfortable in the space, and I had a friend who was trying to talk to me about it, but I got to the place where I didn't feel safe talking to them about it. And I simply had to say, and this was hard to say because it was a close friend, but I simply had to say, I don't feel safe talking to you about this. This conversation is no longer on limits for us. It's off limits.
That's good.
And so, but that was a boundary. I had to do it because I was already upside down. I was just in turmoil already about what was, happening, and trying to talk. I had too much. I won't say too many, but I felt like that was too much outside influence getting in my ear, not helping me make the decision, but just more asking questions and putting if I was you,
yes,
this is what I do.
And I'm I'm not asking you to be me.
Right.
I'm not asking you to be me. Oh my God, stealing it. I'm stealing that. I'm not asking you to be me. For real. So so it was uncomfortable, but here's the thing, and I love this. They understood, and the friendship is still on point.
Yeah.
Still on point.
And that's what I was going to ask you. How was that received?
Still on point. It was received, and we, how when you first say it, it's awkward.
Yes.
And then you start talking about, you heard that new record by,
that.
Right, you got to move on. But
yes,
but it was, it was sticky, but the relationship it didn't suffer, and so I'm grateful for that. Right. So when we're protecting our peace and we're protecting our boundaries, it's important that we do it for us.
Yeah. And I think those who love you, and again, those who are positive or healthy for your life, have their own boundaries, and they're able to accept boundaries, right?
Yes.
In our friendships. And so I just believe I'm not responsible for how you receive my boundaries. Like, if I say I don't like that, or if I say, hey, don't do that. So I have a scenario right now that I can share. Where a family member wants me to, and it's a family member who has a particular way that she would like to be addressed, and I don't believe that I need to address her a certain way. And however, I'm not disrespectful, and so she sent me a long drawn text, and I just said, "This is not a textable conversation. If you would like to talk, please call me." And to this day, I've not gotten a call. And I'm saying to myself, well, if you have the issue, then you need to reach out. And so my boundary was I was not going to respond to that via text message.
Yes.
Now, she thought that I was ignoring her, and I wasn't ignoring you. I said to you, I'm not responding via text. Now, you have to do what you want to with that. but I'm not going to now, move my line when you have the issue, number one, and two, you're doing something that I believe is not a textable kind of conversation.
Yeah,
And I'm not responsible for. Yeah.
You know what? Having conversations through text are hard too, because sometimes what we text is not received in the manner we are intended it to be received. Sometimes we're typing fast, we might miss something, or we're typing at the same time. We're not hearing each other, even though it's text. Like I feel like I agree. Let's call me up. Let's talk.
And we have that nowadays, right? You got social media, you got DMs, you got text messages, you got emojis, you got all these new forms of communicating now. And what happened to a good old conversation? So what I'm hoping, is eventually that if it's a concern enough that she'll call me. Otherwise, I love her and respect her, and that's that. But yeah.
And Coach D mentioned texting. You read from where you are. If you already agitated, regardless of how simple it could just say no. But you said no.
Like, you said no, but you didn't even put a smiley face with it. You didn't.
It doesn't matter. If you're in a space, then you usually read from that space that you're in. We got another question here. The question is, excuse me, you guys.
That's okay.
What advice would you give to someone struggling to make or keep friends?
So my question would be to that, a kind of like a follow-up question. When you say to make friends, are you in a new area, or what happened to your old friends? That kind of brings me to that.
That brings you there. Struggling. Let me see. What advice would you give to someone struggling to make friends?
Make or keep.
Wow, that is a good one. I think part of making friends is just being you, right? Just letting people see who you are. Now, here's the other thing. You're not for everybody. I realize I am not everybody's cup of tea. And that's all right, because I drink coffee.
That part.
So,
yeah.
So sometimes you just got to be who you are. Don't switch up being who you are, trying to get them to like you, because then they don't know you.
Yeah.
So the person that you think they like isn't even who you are. So do not switch up trying to make friends. And then the other thing I would advise is, if there's things that you like to do, activities, right? Maybe I don't know, maybe you like to ride bikes. So you find a bicycle club or something like that that you can get in a surrounding with people with like-minded interests, right?
That's
Find yourself doing some of those things that you like to crochet. They got a group for everything nowadays. Find you a crocheting group, a needlepoint group, a 5D painting group, something, and get in those spaces where those people are interested in the same things that you're in. I think that would be my advice for that.
Gosh,
and I would piggyback on that also, because if you are not being yourself in the beginning to become friends, then it's going to be hard for you, because then they're going to want to do that thing, and you're really not going to want to, because you only did that to make the friend.
Y'all hit that on the head. I think that's
you gotta be who you are. I love that. And then we have another question. How do you handle feeling like you're putting more effort into a friendship than the other person?
Yeah.
Oh,
good. You got an example for that? Go
No, man, that one hit me. That one hit me right here.
That one hit her.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
How do you handle feeling like you're putting more effort into the friendship than the other person? Have at it, ladies.
So I would just, when this happened to me, first it was like I just couldn't believe it. I'm just like, wait a minute, let me see, let me step back, let me look. And then when I could see, no, this is really happening. So then what I then did was I pulled back, Because then I'm like, I don't want to be doing more than you're doing, or I don't want to be bothering you. Maybe you're not wanting to be the friend that we used to be. And then when I pull back, we didn't speak anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So then in that instance, then let me piggyback on that. In that instance, you have to be ready for whatever that consequence is, right? So if you
yes.
find yourself putting in more effort and then you say, okay, well, they're not putting in the effort for the friendship. And so I'm going to pull back. And then if it dissolves, you got to be okay with that. When
Yeah.
yeah, it's either that or you're going to keep trying to pursue this friendship that sounds like maybe now they no longer want to have, like you said, Coach D.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they don't want to say it or they don't know how to say it. So I would kind of match their energy to see where it goes from there.
And then there is that, but then there's also, again, we talked about it earlier, courageous conversation. Hey, girl, what's going
Courageous
on?
conversations, yes.
You ain't been around a lot lately, and just and see where it goes.
Yeah, because they could have something going on. So, first thing is to really clarify, hey, girl, I know you've been missing, or it seems like you must have been really busy, you know, and they're either going to respond and say, girl, yes, child, I've been dot, 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 dot. Okay, cool. Or no, I ain't really been busy. Or they don't respond to you because it's like you're the only one holding the conversations, reaching out, supporting, right? And I will tell you, honestly, this can be a hard part for me because it takes me a minute because again, I'm so all in. It takes me a minute before I figure out like, oh, okay, I think something changed here. It's not an automatic for me. I'm watching, like you said, Coach D, and just observing. And that sometimes I hate it, but but it is me. It takes me a minute before I get to that, like, oh, well, I guess this is dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So oh, but that's a
Wow.
good question too, though.
That's
Lord,
a great question, ladies. Y'all have been putting out some great questions out there. Let me see. Miss Connie says there's an old saying: if you have all kinds of friends, you just haven't. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You have all kinds of friends, you just haven't met them yet. Okay, I was reading that wrong.
Oh, she was saying to the
You have all
that's
kinds
cool.
of friends, you just haven't met them yet. That's a good one too.
Yes.
And going back to that question too, I would also ask person who submitted, is are you social? Because if you're not social, it's hard to make friends. And I totally agree with getting out there and the things that are common so you can start to build there. Yeah, and show yourself friendly. Like,
Yes.
make sure you're open and approachable, if you're
Yes.
out and about, so that people can know it's okay. Hey, I see see the sister over here. Let me come compliment. Something I do when I go into a space that I'm not familiar with, I will always I'll find something to compliment somebody.
Yeah.
And be like, girl, them earrings are cute.
Aren't they?
And it just gives us a
that's me
springboard.
standing up. That's me standing on the side who overheard you. Ain't they? Now the three of us can talk.
You see what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you just, find ways to, and that is how I at least try to make sure I'm not, off in a corner somewhere, but find something to compliment that will give you a springboard of a conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's good too, because I'm someone who, if I'm not smiling and I just have my resting face, I look like a mean person sometimes. So people might think that I'm mean when I'm not. So it's hard because I don't realize that this is the face we're giving. Like, don't come over here.
Yeah.
But that's just my resting face. So that's another thing I would say, like you said, give off that, that good, the nice, the hello, how are you? Like,
Approachable.
Yeah.
What is that the studies show that 70 something, I want to say 75%, don't quote me exactly, but I know it's high, of our communication is nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's a high, so
the face says a lot, the body says a
your
whole
posture, how you standing, are you open, are you, kind of like, don't come over here. Oh,
Yes.
so yeah, that's key.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have enjoyed all of these conversations. Let me see if there's anything else. Another question. How do you handle feeling like you're no, I'm sorry, I went backwards. Okay, so I think I've answered all the questions. Yolanda, if we missed anything, go ahead and drop that in there and let me know. I was trying to see if I see anything else over here. Y'all, I feel like I'm in a spaceship over here. I
can only imagine what's going on behind that screen over there.
All the things going. I'm like, I love it. But no, I have enjoyed having this panel. I hadn't done one in a very long time, but I really enjoy bringing the coaches in and the ladies in so we can kind of talk about some of the things that we see is going on out in the community. So, let's talk about it. Here's another question. How do you handle when someone you consider a friend, but they How do you? I'm
like, what's going on? What's going on?
It caught me a little bit off guard. I was like, is this a friendship or so?
Right.
How do you handle someone you consider a friend, but they introduce you as an acquaintance?
Ooh. Okay, I need a little bit more context. Is this a friend? Is this
right? So I
platonic or
because it's like, is this? I feel like wait a minute, I almost feel like this gives off relationship, but then
me too.
But maybe
can they clarify if possible? Because I don't want to answer wrong.
Right.
Thinking they mean that because that's how I think.
Non-romantic.
They said it's non-romantic. Okay.
They introduce you as an acquaintance.
That's hard because what do you like? Who says acquaintance? Like you really went out of your way to not introduce me as your friend. Like that would have hurt me too. Like,
I can see that.
I will tell you what. Who was that? Maya Angelou said, "When somebody show you who they are, believe them."
Mm-hmm.
They have. Here's what I would say to take that on a different perspective, a different view. They've just shown you who you are to them.
Yes.
So be grateful, because now, and yes, acknowledge the hurt. Like, dang, okay, I thought we was better than that. I thought, and acknowledge that. Take care of yourself, but then be grateful that they showed you, hey, this is who you are to me. So it's no guess.
I like that.
Because then if you're thinking you guys are friends and they're like,
she's just
somebody I know, then you won't overextend, right? And do more than you would normally do, because now you just know that the relationship isn't where you thought it was, and that's okay. But it's not to say that y'all can't become friends, right?
Yes.
But being called an acquaintance, because like I'm kind of like Coach D, who says that I don't use that word in just like that to introduce somebody. Oh, this is an acquaintance of mine. This is a friend of mine. So
how would y'all introduce somebody that's at an acquaintance level? You say they're a friend, or you say they're?
I would say this is so. To me, co-workers are like acquaintances. I would probably just say this is my co-worker so and so, or this is.
That's how I would label it.
Yeah, this is
Sally, and I met her at the ... or something.
This is my classmate. So and so. I wouldn't call them I would probably relate more to where I've met them or where I know them from.
Yeah.
I would probably note that more so than calling them an acquaintance.
Yeah. I agree with that. Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's just the thing. But good question though. But I like what you said, because the question wasn't so much, we kind of went a little bit more on the acquaintance versus the friendship, but the question was, how do you handle it?
Yes.
When someone considers you a friend. I mean, that you consider a friend, but they only consider you an acquaintance. But you said you got to take care of yourself and acknowledge that hurt.
And I would have the conversation, if, again, depending on where you are and if this person considers you an acquaintance, I'm not sure that you can have that depth of a conversation because of where they have placed you, right? So, where we talk about, well, maybe I would say to them, hey, I thought we was more than just acquaintances. I didn't know that. And then you give them a chance to respond, right? Yeah. And you just kind of hear but certainly it's worth a conversation. And then you need to note where you are, who you are to them, and then let it be. Like I wouldn't try to force that or like try to make it something that's not, because again, I don't get to determine where I'm seated in someone's life.
That is very true.
I like
that.
That's
very true. That's good advice. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just say this to everybody watching us live tonight. And even if you're watching the replay, yes, we are talking. We talk all the time about self-care and what you got to do for yourself. But I need to reiterate that who you have around you is important. Who's in your orbit, who's in your space, who's feeding your spirit, who's feeding your soul. That thing is important. You got to be careful of what's going in those ears, because they might be saying things that are breaking you down and not building you up. That's not somebody you necessarily need or want in your circle. And I think sometimes the struggle is we want people in our circle, but we know they're not good for us or to us, and we won't let them go. Sister friend, this is your good girlfriend. Come in and let you know, baby, let that go. If you recognize and you already know it's not good for you, every time I walk away from them, every time I walk away from him or her, whatever, I feel battered. I feel like I've been through something. That's not somebody you need in your circle. And that's when you start to build your boundaries around who's going to have access to you. Okay. That's from your good girlfriend. Okay. So the people in your life should be a safe space, not a stressor, not a drain. They should be a safe space for you. So tonight, it's really my desire that everybody listening, each and every one of you, have people in your life that pour into you as much as you pour into them. I mean, pour into you. Feed your spirit, feed your soul. And if you don't have it, it's from them, it's okay to reposition. Okay? It is okay to reposition yourself. Sometimes, girlfriend, you got to pivot. You got
that part.
You got to pivot. And it's okay. So that's kind of my last 2 cents about the matter. But I do want to give each of you ladies, Coach Fee, Coach D, I want to give you an opportunity to have some parting thoughts. Coach Fee, you want to share some parting thoughts with us?
Oh, okay. Yes. I just want to say thank you, Coach Val, for the opportunity to speak to the ladies. And I'm hopeful and prayerful that this has been helpful, because friendships do matter. And we know that we need them, but really how we do friendships, right? How do we behave in friendships? How do we have healthy friendships? How do we recognize toxic friendships? Like, all of this is so important as we relate to self-care. So that's all I want to say. I just want to make sure that you know that you are valuable. That's the other thing. You are valuable. You are loved. And so you do not have to settle for someone who does not honor you, someone who does not uplift you, someone who does not see your value. You know, you don't have to put up with that just to have people around. So I'm grateful for this conversation tonight and know that it was helpful.
Thank you. Coach D, you got something you'd like to share with us before we wrap it up?
Absolutely. I would say sisterhood and self-care go hand in hand. Who you surround yourself with matters. It affects you whether you think so or not. And I would say choose people who celebrate you, respect you, encourage you, all the things that you need. And I will just leave it right there.
Love that.
Thank you for sharing that. Ladies, in the comments, drop your comments. If you still have other questions and things you want to know and discuss and whatever, you can put those in the comments. We'll be seeing those later. We can respond to you then. But before we get out of here, I want to give each one of these coaches an opportunity to tell you what they've got going on in their communities. Okay. So Coach Fee, what do you got going on, lady?
Okay, well, hey, listen, tomorrow night is a masterclass that I'm hosting. It is called Reclaim Your Power, How to Build the Confidence to Step Boldly into Your Next Chapter. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be on Zoom. So listen, you can pull up, get comfortable, get your favorite beverage, girl. You can even have some background music playing. But I'm going to tell you something. This is a different masterclass. I don't like the masterclasses where people just sit and read slides. I'm your fun girl. And so I've got some fun activities for you, as well as the VIP option has a special gift. So I hope to see you there in the place tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. We are going to have some fun. And you see the information sliding across the bottom of your screen. Thank you, ladies.
Oh, that's so cool. So listen, Coach Fee,
Yeah.
when you go into the Facebook group, what I want you to do is drop the link,
The
okay?
link. Okay.
Yeah, so that they can get in there and get in that Zoom room. Because you the fun girl. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, let me see if I need to get in this in this class. All right. Thank you for that. If you ladies need to get in there and work with Coach Fee, we love it. Coach D, what you got going on, ma'am?
Yes. So I would just invite you to two things. One, I go live every week on my YouTube to discuss different topics of finance. This month, we're focusing on credit. Next month, we're focusing on, um, because next month is, I can't even get it out, Financial Literacy Month. Every week I post it into this community. So if you scroll through, you can actually see the topics and learn. And I would definitely invite you there. I would definitely like to discuss today with you really quickly. I have a financial journal for anyone who needs to, have sit with their thoughts about their finances. You don't think about your finances. You don't talk about your finances. It's something you keep to yourself and you're harboring it. Then I would invite you to check out my financial journal. It's a financial journal. It comes with 30 days of financial prompts, and it will help you to really dig deep, think about your finances, and it's under $20. And I would say one last thing: if you do get it from hearing about it here in the group, respond to me your purchase email to say self care, and then I have something for you.
Ooh, everybody likes a good old freebie and a gift. Thank you, ladies. Ladies, I'm so glad that you joined me tonight here on It Takes a Village, y'all. I love this segment because it just gives us an opportunity to, get together, have these heartfelt conversations because we see the topics and the conversations going on within the group. So I thought, well, why don't we just get some of the coaches together and we just kind of talk about some of these topics? Maybe if you ladies wouldn't mind, maybe put some other topics in the comments, and then some of the other, because I don't know all things, trust. So that's why we got these coaches in here so that everyone can chime in and share their expertise with us. So put some topics in there, some things you might want to discuss or have us discuss in the panel, and we can do that. And we've got other coaches that'll join us. I'm so grateful that today it was Coach D and Coach Fee, and it will be someone else on the next time. So you guys listen out for our next episode of It Takes a Village. Drop your comments in the comment section. If you are watching the replay, y'all know, go on and hit hashtag replay so we know that you were here with us. I am Coach Val. I am your good girlfriend. And I want to just say thank you for being with us tonight. You guys take care. God bless.